You have put out a petition. Well, it's signed by 100 names here, including the CEOs of Iberdrola, E.ON, and Danel. So some big names there in which you say we need to push and continue to push for all those climate measures. But before we move into the details of that, I want to get your reaction on that statement yesterday by China and the United States. It took some by surprise. What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, everything which goes into the right direction is welcome. And on climate, regarding the cooperation between China, the US, and the EU, I mean, we have to make sure that we more or less protect climate action and climate cooperation from the rest of the disagreements we will have, and we are going to keep on having with China on Taiwan, on Hong Kong, on human rights, on Uyghur, and so on and so on and so on. We know that China is a strategic rival, as we say in the EU and you say in the US. But on climate action, either we are on the same boat. Either we win together or we lose together. So that's why we have to make sure that we draw a line between everything on which we disagree, and we strongly disagree, and the fact that we're still cooperating on climate action, the three of us, EU, US, and China, because when you put all the three together, we are more than half of the global emissions.
And that's clear, but I wonder, when you look at the Chinese and their pledge to be much more sustainable and to care more about the environment, just a few days ago, there were a number of reports coming out of China suggesting that the Chinese government does not believe in the cross-border tax leakage, potential tax that may come out of the European Union, and that they view that as problematic. So how much do you trust the Chinese? Because I guess nice words are great, but when you look at the action, perhaps there's reasons to be concerned.
Exactly. So when I look at the long-term goal, now it's a good long-term goal, the climate neutrality by 2060, which is very close to our own goal in the EU and the US goal, climate neutrality in 2050. So we are aligned long-term, but you're right. Short-term, when I look at the new 5 years plan, clearly it's not aligned with the trajectory China should pursue to start aligning itself to something which is in line with the Paris Agreement. So you're right. Long-term, China is on the right track. Short-term, definitely not. Then when it comes to the border adjustment mechanism, I will be one of the negotiators of this mechanism for the European Union. The European law, will be put on the table by European Commission in June, in 2 months' time. And we will not derail. We will not derail, but I want to insist that it will be WTO, so World Trade Organization, compatible. The red line for the EU and for the member states countries would be to design a mechanism that wouldn't be WTO compatible. Because if it's not WTO compatible, it means that it's a sort of trade war, discriminatory, and then not uncooperative on climate, which is exactly the opposite of what we want. What we want is to make sure that when we have a 50 euros carbon price, we still compete with importers that do not pay at home any dollar or any euro on the carbon.
Right, and you say that levy is going to be presented in 2 months' time, and I know you can't get into details, I guess, at this point, but for investors, it's really crucial to know what rate. Can you give us an idea as to what numbers we're looking at briefly?
For the mechanism, So the maximum scope will be the scope covered by the European trade scheme, so the European carbon market. So electricity, aluminium, steel, glass, paper, and so on. So the highly carbon intensive industries. That's the maximum scope. And we might start with a number of sectors that are most at risk. When I say at risk, means that if these sectors start paying 40, 50, 60 euros per ton of carbon. And actually today, the carbon market price, as you might know, is over 40. So it's already something that matters. But if we move to 50 and 60, then they can't compete anymore. It's as simple as that. They can't compete anymore with importers that would pay zero on carbon. And we as Europeans, we are serious with climate and we are serious with our industrial base. So that's why we are going to put this levy, not to be protectionism, but just to have a level playing field.